I remember my time in your class, and I have to say, I must have been a real pain in the butt. You sent Vincent and I into opposite corners of the room, and I had to look into one corner and he into the other corner.
Welcome to We Need to Talk, where we try to figure out how to find fulfillment in life and how to reduce dissatisfaction. In this episode, I sit down with my old high school maths teacher. We discuss how kids are doing nowadays and also reminisce on some funny stories of how he used to punish me for being a pain in the butt in class. And we also discuss what people in their 20s should be doing with their life. Enjoy the episode and don't forget to subscribe. Let's go.
Welcome everybody to We Need to Talk. This channel is dedicated to figuring out the meaning of life and how to reduce dissatisfaction and suffering. My name's Henry, the host of this channel, and I'm today joined with my old high school math teacher, Mr. Botea. Mr. Botea, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and say anything that you think is important or that the listener should know?
That I was your math teacher for 3 years in high school, that we've kept in touch ever since, and that now you've just invited me to the channel.
Exactly, cool. So I think it would be awesome to start off with discussing a little bit on education. I sent you a few questions that I'd like to discuss, but I just came up with some more ones, so I might...
You just wanted to give me homework, right?
No. I like to give you a bit of an idea what we'll talk about, but one question I'd like to start with is, in school now... Oh, wait, how old are the kids that you're currently teaching, roughly?
I'm teaching the higher grade, so between older than 15, I'd say. Mostly 16 and 17 and 18, because it's the last 2 years before uni, 6 and 7.
Cool, perfect. Do you see any developments or sort of trends in the kids you're teaching that are bad, like things that are not good, or good, things that are good?
Good or not good?
Bad, things that are bad.
Bad. You want to start with the bad ones? Not really. I mean, I think that it used to be worse when you were in high school. I think that in general, it's gotten a bit better. It's like most of the kids I have have conscience of what's going on. We have one student that even took part of a TEDx youth video, and her video was online. It was about climate change. And I've been teaching her 3 years, so I know the story because she's always talking about it. But it's like you see that most of the kids go in the same direction in that point of view. Then the rest, you have to talk about the students you have. So it's not the same if you're teaching in a private school in Frankfurt than if you're in Offenbach in a public gymnasium. No offense to Offenbach, but it's just different social elements, different economical situation for the parents. So that makes a big difference. And within the circle that we have here, the little bubble that we have here, I don't know, kids seem very responsive, very responsible, hard workers. There's always someone like you there, but in general, everyone works, and you don't see big issues. For example, I'm in touch with colleagues from Spain, and they tell me stories about what happens, like one kid stabbing another one in class with scissors. So that that does not happen here. So we have different problems, but I don't see any trend, to be honest. I think that it's not bad when kids belong to the system for more years. That lets them build a group or build group spirit, even if they're not all friends. But like in your case, you were there 4 years, but the students that we have now can be there already 10 years together. Even if they're not friends, they know each other, and that makes a difference because they know the system, they know how it works, they know everything that our educational system involves. So it's a bit easier, I think.
Yeah. Okay, that's important to say. The school I was at and you're teaching at was created, I don't know, it was new, and there were just a bunch of kids thrown together, so it was really chaotic and a mess. And it's quite funny because I remember my time in your class, and I have to say, I must have been a real pain in the butt, even though I'm not a pain in the butt. Like, I don't know what was going through my mind. I was just trying to get attention. And I had one other guy, Vincent, who there was one point where you sent Vincent and I into opposite corners of the room, and I had to look into one corner and he into the other corner as punishment. But that was a good time.
You know, it was not punishment, it was self-reflection time.
Yes, embarrassing self-reflection time. But I definitely remember that.
Yeah, that's not that's not politically correct anymore to do that in class. So I don't do it anymore. I don't need to do it. But you were what, 14, 15 years old?
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, maybe you were a pain. Yeah.
Wait, how is that not politically correct anymore?
No, I mean, you have to be careful with what you do. I used to, when I started teaching in Spain, you know, I used to throw stuff to the kids sometimes when they were not paying attention, like friendly little paper or something. But you have to know where you are, and we're in Germany, and physical contact here is not the same as physical contact in Spain. In Spain, it's not that you're going to touch anyone, right? But it's like you don't run away from physical contact. And here you have to know that you need to respect that distance between teacher and student, unless students feel like getting closer, because you can get in trouble. Like, you know, everything is solved in Germany with lawyers. So I've never been there. I don't want to be there, but it's something that you always keep hearing, like, oh, okay. It's like, and for me as Spaniard, it's difficult to keep that distance. But yeah, so that's one thing. And the other thing is that there's some things that were, it's like the Me Too thing. It's like someone starts saying that's not correct, and then you stop doing it. Did you feel bad after doing that, or you thought it was just part of like the group we had there? Okay, you did something wrong, you had to pay for it, but that's it? Or did you feel like offended because, oh my God, my teacher has done that?
I mean, it was a while ago, but I don't recall it as being a terrible sort of shameful experience. I thought it was just like, I think it's funny that I had to do it when I look back on it. And it's like I don't know, I don't think it was, let's say, a bad thing, but maybe that's just me.
Of course, but that's why you did it, of course.
Yeah.
The question is, can you ask everyone to do that? No, of course not, because everyone is different. And in your same class, there were one or two nice pieces that probably would have complained a lot to their parents. Oh my God, my teacher asked me to do that. I don't know. You have to know whether the relation that you have with the student allows that or not. And that's why I did it with you and with Vincent. I remember asking someone to read out loud the timetable that was written in the door, because he said, "Oh, you're not going to send me to the corner." No. I just want you to read the timetable that is there. And then they went there and they started reading, and she's not so loud, just for yourself. And and after 30 seconds, you send them back. But sometimes kids need, you know, to get out of the loop of wrong things. Like, you're talking, then if you try to confront the situation, like, you have to be quiet, then these guys telling me to be quiet, I'm not going to be quiet, of course, because I'm better than him, or I just don't want to do it. So you have to try to take the attention out of that. And that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is always giving an alternative. It's like, either you do that or you do that. And then I hope they're not listening, but then you give them a choice. So it's actually their choice to do one thing or the other. Of course, there are many other choices, and you're only offering the two that you want because they're good for you. But in an educational environment, it usually works to approach the situation that way.
Wait, so you say, like, either you stay here and be quiet, or you go and sit in the library by yourself, like that?
For example. Either you put your phone away or you leave the classroom.
There's actually a meme of you. I don't know if you've seen this before.
Maybe.
I'm not going to say, I mean, it's not an embarrassing one, don't worry, but I'm not going to say who it's from. Let me see if I can find it.
I'm sure I know which one you're talking about.
I don't know if you could read this. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's like,
That
so,
that was probably Elena doing that.
yeah.
You know, she's my neighbor now.
Oh yeah, no, no. I know you moved near the school, but I didn't know you're like
Yeah,
living next to
yeah.
her.
We'll talk off the record about
Okay.
that. No, but I remember that one. I remember another one. Kareem
Mhm.
uh, talking to Elena via Messenger or via WhatsApp, whatever. And then she sent her a picture of a very nice, pretty teacher saying, like smiling with a board. And then student asks, "Is that going to be on the test?" And then teacher answers, "No, it's not going to be on the test." And then I remember reading Kareem saying, "Botella every fucking time." Yeah.
That's a classic question. That's my number one question. Is it
Is
going
it
to
going to be
be
in the exam? Why? Because if not, I don't care, right?
exactly? Well, it's called optimal learning. I'd put it like that.
Yeah, no,
It,
it's called not learning.
no. It's called it's called
It's called optimal passing strategy because you want
yes.
to know what is going to be on the test because you want a good grade, but you're not trying to learn when you say that. You're just trying to know if you need that for having a better grade
Mm,
because education is all about grades. It's always been like that, and it will always be unless we change it. But basically, it's all about it's not going to be in the exam, yeah, but then I need to know how to do it. Is that going to be in the exam? No, then who cares? I start checking the phone. So
oh, like that. No, no. For me, it was more like, is this going to be on the exam so I can write a plan of what I need to study, so I need to put as little amount of time in studying to get the highest possible grade. That's it. Because there's so much content which is just kind of rubbish or garbage that I just didn't need, I think. That's
I
from
completely agree with
university.
you. No, I completely agree with you. But it depends on what you do in university. It depends on what you do in life afterwards. You were following a sciences math course, right?
Mhm.
So you never needed math anymore, or what?
No, I studied business and then I did a master's degree in finance. So I did need a bit of maths, but never I like the only time I needed calculus, so
Yeah,
derivatives, was in the first sort of 8 weeks of university and then
nothing
rarely
else.
ever again.
But you never had maths as maths, right? In uni,
No.
did you have maths
I
courses?
had a maths course that was dedicated to maths, but it was always like business applied to business. So you're like
So,
sort of calculating elastic demands or sort of that kind, I don't know, like economics
oh,
sort of stuff.
you also did that. And maybe you don't remember, but you also did that because that's basically solving a system of equations. But the course you were following was more oriented to people that is going to study engineering or math or physics or something like that because they will need it. But another example where students that follow the short math course that in uni doing business in mines, by the way, they just got stuff that we were doing in the 8 hour course. They were using matrices and they were doing so complicated math that does not make sense. That does not make sense in high school. That does not make sense in university because they're never going to use that. But
In the advanced 8 hour course, you're doing that complex stuff.
yeah, in a
Yeah.
six.
Hmm.
And then I received a picture via phone from another student that was in mines, and she said, "Look what we have to do." And it was something that we were doing. Like she was already in uni her first semester or second semester, and that was what we do 2 years before in the 8 hour course. So
And that was
it
a
depends.
business university course she's
Correct.
doing.
As
Yeah,
far as I know, yeah.
I also had to do matrices now that I remember.
Oh, it's coming! It's coming!
Like multiplying sort of 6 by 6 kind of matrices or
You
four
had to
by
do
four.
that in university.
Yeah.
What a waste of time.
Well, I know you can use a calculator, but we weren't allowed to use like
Oh, you were not allowed to use a calculator.
oh,
I remember a funny story when I was in uni.
go
I
for it.
had a teacher in my like third semester, and we were doing something with matrices, and you had to multiply the matrix times itself until you get a zero matrix.
Yes.
And then the teacher said, well, we're going to do a little quiz about that tomorrow. And then I asked, could you please do one example the day before in the board so that we can see what we have to do? Like you, because I was only interested in passing and having a good grade. So I asked the teacher to do that. And then the teacher said, yeah, I'll do one. And then he starts the lesson. I think after 45 minutes, he was not even close to finish the problem. And then he said, well, that's what you have to do tomorrow. And then I asked again, how long do we have? And then he said, 15 minutes. And then I asked again, but we cannot use a calculator, right? And then he said, no. And then I asked, and that was the last question, so you're not able to do it in 45 minutes and you expect that we do it in 15? And then was silence around the class. Yeah, the day after I got a 0 on the test. Of course. But
yeah, that multiplying it by itself to find a zero matrix, I remember it just takes way too long. You have to do it over and over and over again. It's a pain. But I don't know if you want to go into this or not, but I remember you once told me a story about university where they made you take another year.
No, it's not that they made me take another year. In Spain, universities by subjects. Mm-hmm. And it's like you register for the first year and it's not blocked semester by semester. It's like you have to pass 10 subjects on the first year. And then if you pass, then you go to the next one. If you fail, then you can retake the exam in September. Now I think it's July, it's not September anymore. And if you don't pass, then you have to pay again the subject the second year, and then you can retake the subject or just go for the exams. It depends on what you want. Well, what happened with me was that when I was in my 5th year of university, so I was finishing uni, and I was always, like, since the 2nd or the 3rd semester, I was always a class rep, and I was always trying to talk to the deck and to the people that was there. I don't know what the name of the position is. It was within the science faculty, but it was not the science people. The math was one part inside of the science faculty. So the math teacher that was on top, I was having meetings with him and suggesting things that we could change and give alternatives and telling them things that were not done properly in university and blah, 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 blah. And they never listened to me. So when I had my graduation, I thought, now you're going to listen to me. And yeah, they listened to me. But then they did not like what I said. So yeah, it was a bit tough passing the subjects after that. Took a while.
Wait, but how come? So you were at your graduation ceremony and you held the speech and you roasted them.
Yeah, politely, but yeah.
And then they made you continue. You had to. You basically.
Oh no, it's not. No one made me do anything. It's like I just had exams after that in September, and
like
what
that.
A coincidence! I failed all the exams, and until they decided, or until they forgot, or until I prepared them better. I don't know. It could be my fault too.
Wait, well, why would you have a graduation ceremony before you've graduated?
Because I only had 3 subjects to go, and the graduation ceremony was in July, and I had the last chance for passing those 3 subjects in September. And they put you in they used to put you in the promotion year. So my promotion year was 2007 or 2006, and they put me there, even if I was not getting the diploma before that, because I was just going to finish right away. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I did not finish right away.
Okay, I see.
I didn't say anything mean. Just they did not take well criticism in public.
Okay.
But that was their problem, not mine.
Right.
I got a phone call from the rector of the university the day after, or 2 days after, calling me for a meeting and asking me to write a statement, taking away everything I said in the ceremony, because I was doing political use of a non-political event. You said that it was either that or a disciplinary council.
What's that?
A disciplinary council. He threatened me basically with kicking me out of university and never getting my diploma. But then that never happened. They never follow on that. They just wanted to threaten me. I never wrote anything. It took a while to finish it, but well, it was worth.
That's awesome. Okay. Um, what do you think? I mean, a lot of the so you're teaching older kids in high school now, and just generally, what do you think people in their 20s should work for or should fight for or should spend time on nowadays?
That's a good question, but I don't have an answer for that. What do I think? They need to enjoy what they're doing, and at least enjoy what they're doing. I can remember my 20s, and I don't remember enjoying university. I don't remember enjoying what I was studying. I remember that the same feeling you have, like, why am I learning this if I'm never going to use it? I think that 98% of what I learned in university has been useless to me. Um, what I learned in high school, no, because now I'm teaching it. But basically, all the knowledge I got on top of that was never useful. So I knew that I had to study maths and do an educational course for becoming a teacher, and that was the idea. And it was for an end. It was I was doing that just for getting a diploma and being able to sooner or later become a teacher. But if I had to advise someone, what do you do in your training? Is like do something that at least makes you feel good with yourself, or fulfills you as person, or I don't know. But don't waste time.
But so you did a bachelor's and a master's, or just a?
So I'm a mathematician, so that means a bachelor's, I
Mhm.
guess, and then on top of that, one course, 1 year, which is like a qualification, a teaching qualification certificate in Spain, which is called
Okay.
CAP. Hmm.
Okay. I mean, it's funny you say that because I think the majority of my 4 years at university, the actual content I was studying, it's really sad actually because people have asked me like, "What's the best course you had?" Not a single one was I passionate about. Not a single one did I think, "Wow, this is awesome. I really like this." So, but I think it's honestly really difficult to enjoy the content of any kind of type because it's like I mean I don't know how different it is, but for me it was sort of reading a book and then writing an exam and having some boring lectures. That was kind of what it was. But no matter what the topic is, if you're forced to read a theoretical book on anything, the vast majority of people won't enjoy it or think it's fun.
For me, it was not exactly the same because it was all math, basically, but it was more similar to what you were doing in high school. The content, of course, very different, but like, I don't know, a subject about analysis, and you were learning all the stuff. They were teaching you how to do the things, but teaching you means the teacher doing one example. And if you ask, maybe you're lucky and you get an answer. Even if classes were quite small, we were not more than 25 in class because back in 2002, maths was not so popular in Spain. Now it's super popular and everyone wants to study maths. And the grade that they request for you when I got in was a 5.00, which is the passing rate. And last time I checked, it was above 8.5. So yeah, it has changed a lot, and now students are there. Maybe they're more motivated than we were because I mean I had a good average from high school, but like anyone could get in there. So maybe that was not helping. But I remember maybe I don't know 5, 6, 7 courses that I enjoyed the content that I enjoyed the content, and it was mostly related to the teacher who was teaching it. It's never the content, and it does not have to be the best teacher ever. Can be an asshole, but if there's connection or like you like the way that person does things, even if he's super mean to everyone in the class, but you know you like it. Not that he is mean to the people, but the way he explains things, or the personality or whatever, then that helps a lot for enjoying an actual course. Because if you really like something, but then the teacher that is teaching it is bad for you, maybe for him he's the best, but there's no connection, or you don't think that he's doing a good job, then you lose interest for what you're doing.
Mm. I think I understand what you mean, but I think it has a little bit to do with whether the lecture is entertainment for you or not. Like if the professor's entertaining, that makes a huge difference.
Yes, but also the content.
Mm-hmm.
Like the teacher, the professor has to entertain a bit. It's not just getting there and spitting stuff, or just going PowerPoint presentations. There has to be something. If there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing, then you can rarely enjoy a lecture.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So people in their 20s should just find something that they enjoy doing.
Yeah, I think so.
But that, I mean, that that's essentially for life, right?
Yes, of course, but life. When does life start?
I think life consciously starts around when you're in university or when you leave university.
Your 20s.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to decide. Well,
Yeah.
the first big choice that you have is when you go to uni and you decide what you're going to study and where you're going to study. And in theory, what you do in high school has an influence of that because of the grades. But you know, you can always pay more and get whatever you want without having the same grade of other people that does not have the money. So it's not a fair way to measure it. But once you start doing what you, in theory you want, is when you have to actually enjoy it. Because up to that moment, when you're in high school, the choice that you have is very little, very, very little. The choice that you have in schools, well, it depends on the country, on the educational system, but it's usually not that big unless you have a lot of money. You can just go every year to one different school and you have no problems about that. But in general, I think that when you are in uni, finishing uni, or at least you decide that what you're doing is what you have to do does not mean that you're enjoying it. It's that you're doing it for a reason. But then when you have that thing that you need for something is when you really need to start doing something that you like, because otherwise you're just going to be just not going to be a very nice person to be around.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I mean, but I honestly think, and it's a bit pessimistic when I say it. I see a lot of people who aren't doing they don't enjoy what they're doing, like whatever that like main sort of whatever they spend the most of their time with, whether it's a job or study.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say more job wise, they don't really enjoy what they're doing, but they don't even know that they're not enjoying it. Let's say, like they're kind
Well,
of.
maybe they're enjoying it, but you just think about every worker you see since you leave your house until you go back. It's like, for you, would you enjoy being a waiter or a cook or cleaning or driving buses or driving cabs or teaching or working at a bank or even being a doctor and being in a practice there doing the same thing day after day after day? How many people actually enjoys what they're doing? That's a good question, because I don't think that many. I mean, many. I hope that I'm wrong, but most of the people do their job because they get money, and then they forget about it because it's not important or it does not fulfill them as persons. But I think that what you need is to do what your passion asks you to do, or what you actually enjoy doing. If you don't do that, then yeah, you're just gonna be bored 80% of your life until you retire, if you make it there. What's the
Mm.
point?
And that's I mean, I totally agree with you. However, the question is, how do you know what you're passionate about?